The private dining room at St. Michael's Hospital buzzed with my family's usual chatter as Dad prepared to blow out his birthday candles. 65 years old, and still the hospital's most renowned surgeon. Every member of our medical dynasty sat around the mahogany table, except for me, the failed one who couldn't cut it in med school. Pass the salt, little brother? Mark smirked from his end of the table, his chief surgeon badge gleaming. Oh wait, can you afford the calories on a teacher's salary? I handed him the crystal shaker, ignoring the designer watch he made sure to flash. Teaching underprivileged kids science wasn't prestigious enough for the Harrison family of doctors. Speaking of affording things, Mom chimed in, adjusting her pearls. Where's your gift, dear? Everyone else contributed to the new cardiac wing fund. My sister Sarah, head of neurology, couldn't resist joining in. Maybe we should start a GoFundMe for him to match our donations. She glanced at her husband, the hospital's financial director. What did we put in, honey? $2 million each. Times are tight in public education, I replied mildly, watching Dad arrange the folders containing everyone's donation pledges. He'd always measured love in monetary contributions to his hospital. At least he showed up this year, Uncle James offered, not unkindly. As the hospital's board chairman, he'd always had a soft spot for the family disappointment. Though I'm surprised you could get away from those finger-painting sessions you call classes. If they only knew those finger-painting sessions were cover for managing my global education technology empire. Built quietly over 10 years while they mocked my career choice. Remember when he tried medical school? Mark laughed, launching into his favorite story. Lasted what, 3 months before dropping out to find himself teaching kids? Dad frowned at his birthday cake. Could have been chief of surgery by now. Instead, I'm just a simple teacher, I finished, checking my phone as another alert flashed. The final paperwork had gone through. Perfect timing. The hospital director's heels clicked against marble as she hurried into our private room, face flushed with excitement. Dr. Harrison, I'm so sorry to interrupt your birthday lunch, but I had to tell you in person. What is it, Helen? Dad set down his fork, annoyed at the interruption. The anonymous donor we've been courting, the one offering $40 million for the children's wing? Her eyes sparkled. They're here. In this very room. The table fell silent. Every head turned, expecting to see some wealthy benefactor entering behind her. Well? Mark demanded. Where are they? I stood slowly, straightening my department store tie. Right here. Sarah's wine glass tipped over, spreading red across the white tablecloth like the blood they thought I couldn't handle in medical school. You? Mom whispered. But, you're a teacher. Actually, I pulled out my phone, displaying the confirmation. I own the largest educational technology company in the world. Those teaching jobs? Research for developing revolutionary learning systems. Now used in 50 countries. Dad's birthday candles flickered as his hands began to shake. 40 million? For starters, I replied, watching their faces as Helen handed out the official documentation. The children's wing is just the beginning. My company's foundation is prepared to fund the hospital's entire expansion plan. All $3 billion of it. Mark's surgical badge suddenly looked small compared to the zeros on the donation papers. But I've seen your apartment. That tiny place near the school. My innovation lab, I corrected him. The real estate alone is worth more than your entire surgical wing. Though I suppose you never noticed the quantum computers behind the classroom decorations. Quantum computers? Sarah's husband choked on his wine. In a public school? Testing grounds for our AI-driven education platforms, I explained, enjoying how their expressions shifted from condescension to confusion. Those finger-painting sessions Uncle James mentioned? We were developing haptic interfaces for virtual surgical training. Used in 17 medical schools now, including the one you dropped me from. The hospital director could barely contain her excitement. Dr. Harrison, your son's company EDU Tech Global, they're revolutionizing medical education worldwide. Their simulation systems have increased surgical success rates by 60%. Dad stared at the melting candles, his world tilting on its axis. All this time, I continued, while you were mocking my career choice, I was building something bigger than another surgical department. Those kids you thought I was wasting time with? They were helping design the future of medical education. Mom's hands trembled as she read the foundation's portfolio. 20 billion in assets? But how? Remember that app one tried to show you at Christmas? I asked, thinking back to their dismissive laughs. The one you said was cute, But not real medicine? It's now the standard platform for pediatric diagnostics in over 3,000 hospitals. Sarah's face had turned the same shade as the spilled wine. The new neural interface system we just ordered for neurosurgery? EDU Tech Global's latest release? I nodded. Though I could have given you the beta version if you'd ever returned my calls. Uncle James was rapidly scrolling through his phone, his eyes widening at each headline. EDU Tech Global revolutionizes medical training. Education tech giant announces $100 billion healthcare initiative. Mystery tech billionaire's vision for future of medicine. Mystery billionaire, he murmured. That's you? Among other things, I replied, watching another notification pop up on my phone. Speaking of which, the World Health Organization is about to announce our global partnership. Might want to turn on the news. The private dining room's massive screen flickered to life, showing a press conference in Geneva. My company's logo dominated the backdrop as the WHO director praised our unprecedented commitment to medical education equity. 3 months, Mark whispered, his earlier mockery forgotten. You only lasted 3 months in med school because I saw a bigger picture, I finished. Why become one surgeon when I could help train millions? Why run a department when I could transform the entire field? The hospital director was practically bouncing. Dr. Harrison, your son's systems have reduced medical errors by 45% globally. The virtual training programs alone have saved thousands of lives. Dad's hands shook as he reached for the donation papers. The children's wing, you're not just funding it? We're reinventing it, I confirmed. The Harrison Children's Medical Center will be the most advanced pediatric facility in the world. Every innovation, every breakthrough, every piece of technology my company develops will be implemented here first. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Their small medical dynasty was about to become the epicenter of a healthcare revolution. But why keep it secret? Mom finally asked. All these years letting us think. Would you have listened? I asked quietly. When I tried to explain my vision, you called it a game. When I showed you the prototypes, you called them toys. Sometimes the only way to be heard is to succeed so loudly they can't ignore you anymore. The WHO announcement continued in the background as my family struggled to reconcile their failed son with the reality before them. The teacher they'd pitted was now transforming medical education globally. The dropout they'd mocked had just become their hospital's savior. And Dad's birthday candles kept burning, witnesses to the moment when everything they thought they knew went up in smoke. The WHO director's voice continued from the screen, but all eyes in the room were fixed on the donation papers, specifically, the list of conditions attached to my $40 million gift. Implementation of EDU Tech Global's full surgical training suite, Sarah read aloud, her voice growing faint. Including, replacement of current systems? Your neural interface is already obsolete, I explained, pulling up schematics on my tablet. Our new platform reduces surgical errors by another 30%. Though you'd know that if you'd accepted my lunch invitations to discuss the beta testing. Mark grabbed the tablet, his surgeon's hands trembling. These response times, they're impossible. We've been trying to achieve this level of precision for years. 5 years, 3 months, and 12 days, I specified. That's how long your research team has been stuck on the same problem. I know because I solved it 2 years ago while volunteering at the Children's Science Fair you were too busy to attend. The hospital director cleared her throat. Perhaps we should discuss the immediate changes. The press conference starts in an hour and dash. Press conference? Mom interrupted, pearls clutched tight. What press conference? I gestured to the swarm of reporters gathering outside the hospital windows. The one announcing EDU Tech Global's complete overhaul of St. Michael's teaching program, including the replacement of outdated training methods. Dad's face went pale. My training methods? Your methods are excellent, Dad, I said softly, for 1995. But medicine has evolved. Those residents you're so proud of? They're learning surgery the same way you did 30 years ago. Uncle James was scanning the documentation with growing alarm. This isn't just a donation, it's a complete takeover of our medical education division. Transformation, I corrected, bringing up more data on the dining room screens. Every department, every protocol, every training program will be upgraded. Welcome to medicine's future. Sarah's husband, still processing the financial implications, found his voice. But the board would never approve such sweeping changes without dash. The board voted this morning, I cut in. Unanimously. Though most of them didn't realize the anonymous tech investor, buying controlling shares was the same kid they watched grow up running through these halls. The screens filled with live feeds from operating rooms worldwide, all running my company's systems. Surgeons guided by AI, residents training in virtual environments, medical students learning anatomy through augmented reality. This is happening everywhere? Mark asked, watching a complex neural procedure being performed with precision he'd never seen before. Everywhere except here, I replied. Because my own family was too proud to listen to the failed med school dropout. Mom's voice shook. But your little science classes, those children's programs, were beta testing grounds for the most advanced medical education tools ever developed. I pulled up footage of my students using simplified versions of the same systems transforming hospitals worldwide. Those kids you thought I was babysitting? They're helping design the next generation of medical technology. The hospital director couldn't contain herself any longer. Dr. Harrison, you should see the full implementation plan. The children's wing alone will have capabilities that dash. That's enough, Helen, Dad cut in sharply, still staring at the donation papers. My son and I need to discuss this privately. Actually, I checked my watch, we don't. The press conference starts in 45 minutes and I need to prepare. Oh, and Dad. I pulled out one final document. Happy birthday. I'm naming the Quantum Computing Research Center after you. Quantum computing? Sarah's wine glass slipped again. Here? The world's most advanced medical research facility, I confirmed. Though I considered putting it in Boston. They at least returned my calls. The screen switched to a live feed of the hospital's entrance, where tech journalists and medical reporters were gathering in growing numbers. The story was already breaking across social media. Medical education revolutionary revealed, tech billionaire returns to transform family hospital. Dad's birthday cake sat forgotten, 65 candles burning lower as his life's work transformed before his eyes. The son they'd written off as a failure was about to become his hospital's saving grace. And we hadn't even gotten to the part about the global research network yet. The private dining room's door burst open as Dr. Chin, head of international medicine, rushed in waving her tablet. Dr. Harrison, have you seen what's happening? Every major medical center in Asia is implementing the new. She stopped short, seeing me. Wait, you're the one who helped design your remote diagnosis protocol last year? I smiled. Though you probably remember me as that teacher who kept asking questions during the Global Health Symposium. Dad's hands clenched around his birthday cake plate. You were behind the Asian Medical Initiative? Among other things, I replied, bringing up a world map on the main screen. Red dots began appearing, spreading across continents like a digital epidemic. Each light represents a medical facility currently running EDU tech systems. By this time tomorrow, St. Michael's will finally join them. Mark stood abruptly, his chair scraping against marble. This is absurd. You can't just walk in here and dash. Actually, I can, I interrupted, pulling up the hospital's ownership structure. Check the board of trustees. Specifically, the Educational Endowment Fund. Sarah's husband, the financial director, went ghostly pale. The Harrison Foundation. That's you? Yes, I said. The same foundation funding medical research for 5 years. My full name is Alexander James Harrison III. Mom's eyes widened. You've been the hospital's biggest donor, before Mark became chief surgeon? Exactly. Every major grant, every breakthrough, came from the teacher you pitted. The hospital director stepped forward. We should discuss the neural interface patents. Dad looked shocked. What patents? Your son's, she said, spreading documents. The tech that made modern microsurgery possible. Mark grabbed the pages. These procedures, we've been using them. I built them in my classroom, I said. Those VR headsets you mocked? Surgical prototypes. The kids I taught? Future medical leaders. Screens showed surgeries worldwide, Tokyo, London, Brazil, South Africa, all connected through my systems. The WHO partnership goes live in 10 minutes, I said. St. Michael's will be the hub of global medical training. Sarah stared at the designs. This is decades ahead. 5 decades, I replied. I solved quantum entanglement while you told Mom I'd wasted my life. The director grinned. The press is calling it the biggest revolution in medical education. I smiled at Dad. Your old training manual? Digitized. Now part of our AI modules. Dad's voice shook. All this time, we thought you were just teaching, I finished. Kids believe in ideas. Adults dismiss them. News flashed. Education tech giant reveals medical revolution. Failed med student becomes global health pioneer. Mom whispered, "Why keep it secret? Would you have believed me?" I asked. Some success grows best in silence. The director's phone buzzed. "Who is ready for the announcement?" I stood. "Let's go make history."